Welcome back to the Profound Podcast, episode 28. Woohoo! Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Opsa.
Lovely, and I'm Ian. And today we're going to be talking about men supporting women. Is that a good topic headline? So, do you feel like men support women enough? Just a general baseline question. Just get it going.
I say no.
Your thoughts?
I say no too.
I've grown up around people, like my family. Like my father is a very supportive man. And he's like a good example of, I feel like, someone who supports women. My guy friends, I would say, for like the closest guy friends that I have. They're not great at it, but I feel like they're better than most. But like the general population, I feel like no.
Yeah, I feel like they don't know how to support women.
No. And yeah. Or they're just like willingly not. To be honest, I feel like that's it more.
Do you feel like it's
They
more
will-
willingly
yeah.
than...
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think partly it's like they're like too good for it maybe.
Too good for... Like... They don't view it as an issue, or...
No, I
Too
think
good
they're,
for,
or maybe they're scared of like how it's viewed by their other guy peers.
Maybe it's because of the men I've encountered, at least. But to me, I mean, they're all, from within my own culture. So there's that factor. But from what I've seen is that they don't take the time to learn or acknowledge the experiences of women and how it might differ from theirs. Like, I remember this summer, I was talking to these older, like, Oromo men in Minnesota. It was all, like, I was the youngest one there, and they're all, like, 30-plus, unmarried men, you know how that goes. And they were just, I was talking about the topic of marriage, and I was just like, I want to wait a little bit just because, like, I want to figure out what I want to do in my life, learn about myself first. And then they all got on me, like, essentially saying I was going to dry up and shit, Yeah, just talking about, like, my ability to produce children as if that's going to be my biggest accomplishment. And it stuck with me for a little bit. And, like, I still have those kind of people in my life right now. Like, my brother-in-law, as sweet as he is, he never takes the time to, like, empathize with people or, like...
Yeah, and I feel like it's hardest too when they're like your own family members because they're your people, They're your family, you want to love them, but when they have views that are like literally against you, like it's personal. This is not like a just opinion or like a preference. Like these are opinions that are directly impacting you on the daily. And they have those opinions, but then at the same time they want to tell you like they love you and support you. Very contradictory.
Yeah, I feel like the problem is that they're comfortable in their ignorance.
Yeah, they are. Oh, guys are so comfortable.
Well, yes, of course they're comfortable. We, them, we. I don't know how to address it.
You don't have to include yourself.
But, yeah, of course we're comfortable because we're kind of at a position where we have everything to benefit from, projecting an ideal and perspective upon you guys. So for any guy to, like, not be willfully ignorant, because I feel like part of it is willful ignorance, because I feel like it's so, pop culture nowadays to learn about these sort of topics that, certain assimilation and alignment with, like, ideas like Andrew Tate, like how we were just talking about, I feel like that's more of a choice than it is, like, environmental.
Oh, yeah, like a choice they're, like, proud of.
Right.
They, like, love it.
Because it empowers them.
I don't
not
understand that, though.
And
like
it's
the
like...
Andrew Tate support. I can't wrap my head around
because it kind of supports, like, the idea of, like, a stoic man, oh, I'm above everything, and it puts them in, like, a state where they feel like, oh, I'm powerful, I'm strong, but they're just ignoring their issues. And
Okay, but how can they, like, just focus on that when he's saying so many other things that are, like...
Because...
Like, it's that important to them to be, like, above everything that they're just gonna
Absolutely.
ignore every other ignorant thing this man's saying.
most men I've seen support Andrew Tate are like men that have been rejected by women, like
Yeah, they're trying to
been told no
get it
once.
back.
You know, they feel like they gotta get revenge or some shit. Like, it's insane to me.
Like,
Cause he's a criminal. Like, fuck all that sexism bullshit. The nigga's
yeah,
a
like,
criminal.
yeah, like, and like, and then what? Like, I don't know what to do when it's like friends of yours that are saying, you know. Then it's like,
Then you either
you gotta go.
right, you either tell them they gotta
I'm
go,
really
or
quick with that. If I
Yeah.
hear it once, you're out. Like,
yeah, you just tell them that that's not cool. Even if they still wanna have that viewpoint, then you kick them away.
oh my god, didn't they catch an incel coming to campus with like
Yeah.
an AK something?
It's, bro, I promise you, all it is just men trying to cope with their own insecurities through like trying to gain power from some sort of viewpoint that idolizes them and puts down the rest of society.
That's actually insane.
I just don't get it. I especially don't get it when it's black men,
Mm.
because I feel like you guys know what it feels like to be like discriminated against.
Exactly.
So like you should know.
But
We
when,
know exactly how it feels to be down, so we know even more why we want to be up.
But why can't you be up without putting women down?
I
like
personally, me personally, I don't really know, but I can understand why, because you're getting abused for so long, and then you're like, well, here's an avenue for me to finally have some power.
I mean, I guess, because if we're looking at like white people, they're up only by oppressing.
Mm-hmm.
But we're black. That'd be better.
No, I feel like in an environment like this, like, I mean, I've always been in like predominantly white schools, but especially with OSU when we're so outnumbered,
Mhm.
I've seen that, like, the person to turn to in my classroom will not be my black man.
Mm.
Like, they're gonna turn away from. It's like they protect themselves first.
Yeah. It's the whole laws of power. It's in that book right there.
The book you
That is a
didn't
dangerous
read.
book.
No,
Right.
but like,
He's like
it-
quoting.
I'm not quoting,
You're
but it
quoting.
describes like how it works. Because the only thing that black men have to reference for power is what white men do or what white women do, and they're just looking at the oppressor and how they attain power, and they have to do the same in order, because that's what they think power is. So they're just doing what they think they need to in order to have that security of self.
Yeah, fuck that. Black men do better.
That's facts.
Do better.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. No.
Yeah.
Why?
Hey.
All right.
Like, why can't we put the same expectations we put on black women on y'all?
Mhm.
Like, mm-mm. And I don't want to get to this point where I'm like, fuck all black men. I hate
Yeah,
black
and
men.
like, I don't want to get to the point of like, because the more I'm thinking about it, like, the friends that I have who are like, oh, like, don't take it personally, like with the Andrew Tate stuff, like, don't take it personally, whatever. Like, I don't want to get to the point where I have to like cut people off for it. But at the same time, I don't want them to think like, oh, I can have these opinions and have female friends. And like, I can get away with that, you know?
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. That's so
I say cut them off.
Yeah, they're.
I mean, you're not.
I just-
It's just when everything is at like the touch of your hand. Like, knowledge is at every point right now. Like, they can learn
Anything they want.
anything they wanted. You're not responsible for teaching them. You know?
If they want to be willfully ignorant, and that's on them.
Exactly. And they can surround themselves with like-minded people and live in their fucking disgusting bubble, but like, you don't have to be near it.
It's just like so normalized. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's so scary. Cause you'll like tell them like things that I feel like they should be like, oh, like that are like red light, like, like with Andrew Tate, like the case that he has.
Mm.
Like to me, like if you hear that, you should automatically be like, oh no, like,
Yeah.
all right, like this man, he's got to go.
Yeah.
But to them, like, well, like, I'm not gonna believe the first thing I see. Like, even if he does do that, like, he's provided us with blah, 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 blah.
No,
they're
like,
trying to keep themselves in that position.
Crazy. That's
Why don't-
insane.
why don't they see the correlation between the things he says, the opinions he has on women, and the criminal acts he's committed?
Same
Like-
thing with Trump. Like, when we bring up, like, okay, like, you support him, but then what about, like, all these things that he says about women? And they'll be like, well, I don't necessarily agree with that, but he's done so much good for the black community economically, da 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 da. It's like, I'm cool on that.
Yeah, that's the problem with this democracy, though. We always have to pick, like, the lesser of two evils.
Right. You gotta pick a poison nowadays.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand what Joe Biden does either. He's not. He ain't there.
Yeah, what's up
Yeah,
with all
but
the
he's
classified
not-
documents?
It's the
he
best
has
of two
in
evils.
Yeah, but he's looking real good.
his-
Yeah.
That man is a pedophile.
Mm.
I'm just saying, like, but he's not good at all.
I
Like,
know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, all the other, like, that's what we're left with.
that's just tragic.
I know.
They're the ones setting the example for how the younger generation of men are gonna look for power, because those are the people we see at the top.
It makes me want to leave.
Leave
Can you
where?
imagine?
I am leaving.
You
Eventually.
should get Barack on this.
Get Barack.
On this podcast.
Oh yeah, put some strings.
Like, can you imagine? I
That
would
would
not.
maybe if I got like
I'd pass out.
humongous, I probably could
If you got what?
if I got like a larger following.
Oh my gosh, that would be so cool.
That'd be sick.
Please have me on there.
I'll
I
get
feel like
you-
I'm
I'll get
inside,
you
like,
a-
sweating.
I'll get you a one-on-one, Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do we go from that to this?
I don't know. What's the
That's
next question?
insane. Like,
I don't
those are
know.
like,
And they'll look for any bad thing about Obama,
yeah, they do.
but we can move on.
Was Obama a good president, though?
To be honest,
Yes,
Mm.
absolutely, 100%.
I don't know what a good president
Exactly.
is. so,
Exactly.
so I can't even say. I like them more than anyone else.
Yeah.
but
Again, lesser of two
I like them.
evils.
I did. I thought he was a good president.
I
I
was
liked his
just happy
policies
he
and
was
everything.
black.
Right, I was happy he was black too.
Yeah.
I don't know what he. I don't know what he did really, because I was younger and not really into politics at the time.
No, he did a lot for, like, immigration, for example, and, like, DACA. Okay.
Alright, then. I'll take your word for it. Where do you want to go from here?
Don't ever speak bad on bro.
There's probably
know.
there's
That's how they feel about.
Mm.
That's how they feel about Tate.
yeah.
See?
Yeah.
You see both sides.
You
No,
see, you gotta
that's
keep
so
it open
different.
mind.
You gotta keep it. You gotta keep it a whole buck.
Guys, don't get me angry.
I'm not trying to get you angry. I'm just
Anyone can be criticized.
right.
Okay, but there's different levels. Andrew Tate's like a
Yeah.
I know, but I'm
Sex
just telling you
trafficker.
why they
Yeah.
like.
Barack. You might not have liked the policy he put in place.
I just
Come on
don't
now.
trust people in power.
Right. They all got some. You know.
They all got something.
I trust the Obamas.
You just like the
You just-
Obamas. Just in the same, like, I'm not saying this to the same degree, but in the same way that dudes will like Tate, they'll find any excuse to, you know, not criticize him
Yeah.
or to have.
No,
people
I mean,
not be
I'm sure
able
there's
to.
policies I wouldn't love from Barack, but like, I mean, he's looking pretty nice right now.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of men that I can be like, oh, that they're a good role model. Like, I legitimately can't think of any. Yeah,
Well,
mine's
I-
blank.
do.
well, how do you think? Look at the.
I'm forgetting his
look at-
name.
Look at the state of the men now.
I know.
Because we have no role models. Not to say that's an
Yes,
excuse,
but okay. Well, look at your black role models.
who are you
I
talking
can
about?
name plenty of them. Like black women role models. They don't have to be men.
No.
Like why? You
You
know,
said mine.
if you guys,
Oh, I thought you were talking about men.
not just since you guys don't have any, look at us women. I'm serious.
No, what's that social media activist? His name?
Sean King.
Yeah, him.
Sean King.
He's not bad.
We love Sean King.
I'm sure there's something wrong with him.
That's what I'm saying.
Anything wrong with him is crazy.
It's true.
How you got like
So
you
many,
got
like, you
4
have to
million
Let these people be
followers.
human. Like, they're
Why is that weird?
You just
They
never know.
You never you put like you're putting so
No,
much
I'm
faith
not. Okay, I'm
in
not.
these
But
people.
Like, I
I'm-
like what he does. I
Right.
like what he's about.
But if he messed up, I would be like, oh, that's.
Expect
I'm not
it.
saying I'm gonna be like flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Like I
Okay.
don't
Okay,
expect
that's
him
fair,
to never
but-
make mistakes or not to. I expect him to be.
okay,
Imperfect.
but the younger generation would be a lot better if they were looking towards him than Andrew Tate.
Yeah,
Is
for
all
sure.
I'm saying.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Alright.
valid.
Okay.
I don't disagree
As
with
long
you.
as he's what he says he is.
Puts out to be, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. But that's everyone.
Yeah.
Valid. So what question do you want to touch on?
I feel like we kind of already covered it, but like, how do you handle whether it's friends or family members or just like, yeah, like how do you handle that
what?
being like
You determine whether or not they cross the boundary with you. And
handle when they're supporting or excusing men or like actions?
I'll definitely call them out, but there are certain times where I know that my words are not going to change anything, and I'll back down. Like my brother-in-law. I've never met such a thick-headed person. Like I don't know what it is, whether it's the fact that I'm a girl or like it's just me specifically, but he won't listen for anything.
Like
He
politics
thinks
or
he's like the type to, like one time we watched this video about the different experiences women have in the workplace and that sometimes they have barriers. And he didn't like what the girl said, but I was just like, she said it wrong, but like there are barriers. The nigga got up, started yelling at me like this. And I'm just saying like, I don't think I can communicate
You
with
would
someone
laugh.
like that. No, I literally was
I
like,
would
oh,
laugh.
sit the fuck down. Because what's the point? Like,
Yeah,
there
you're
are certain
not gonna get anywhere.
fights, they're not worth it. Like, it's not going to change anything. Like, with my sisters, sure, they'll listen. We can have a conversation. But, like, most men in my culture, they just believe they're right. And I'm wrong all the time. And I don't see how I can change that.
I get angry thinking about
Wait till you go back to Ethiopia.
it. Oh Lord.
You're going to have fun.
I'm just planning on not bringing it up at all. I've been told
Yeah.
multiple times.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying only, like, fight when you think you're gonna win, but there are points where you know nothing you say is ever gonna change their opinion.
That's what I'm saying.
That
Some
sucks.
people are so closed-minded. You can't. There's
Like-
nothing you can tell.
Like
some people.
Barack.
What do you mean?
You can't change your opinions on Barack.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she
Yes,
would
you
never-
can.
You would change your
Bring me
opinion,
some
bro?
evidence. Let me
Okay.
see it.
Okay.
All right, bro.
All
Alright.
right.
What if you hear word of mouth?
From who?
I don't know. What if it was some like Twitter thread
Saying.
that he killed a kid?
Then I wait for the investigation. And if it's true, then I'll pray for Michelle.
What if Michelle was in on it?
You'd wait for the investigation, so you wouldn't just be like, nah, push him off. Like if Barack tried to dap you up, I'd be like, nah, not till your case.
No,
is
I
solved.
would. I would.
Okay.
But, you know, I don't think he'd be dabbing me anytime soon. But point is, okay, but I feel like if what you say can't change their mind, then I just try and focus on like the way I live. I like to live by example, you know?
To change their mind?
Not necessarily to change their mind, but just to. I don't know if it would change their mind, but just in hopes that they would see, like. I don't know. Just to give a different perspective, maybe.
A different perspective to whom?
To them. To whoever's being closed minded.
How would they look to you?
Well, if I'm like a family member of theirs,
Oh.
they would just naturally see it. Or if it's like a friend, or like, actually, I can't be name dropping. Or like if someone like, I don't know, like take for example like your sibling or something, like they might have a completely different viewpoint, but if they see you like living your life and the way you treat others or the things you stand up for, or like what you put your time and money towards,
Mhm.
like if they've seen that growing up like their whole entire lives, that's like a pretty big like important perspective that they have, that they can take with them, like to do whatever. And like they might not change their mind, but like in a certain situation that they encounter, like they might, that experience of mine might influence how they go about making a decision. You know? You can only hope. I don't know.
That's a good point. I don't really know. My oldest brother,
Which one?
I'm not saying no name.
No.
One of my older brothers,
Mm.
you know, lost
Lost brother.
his political siding. And I wouldn't say that, like, I look at him as like, I don't consider that when I'm making my decisions.
Yes, but like if you see somebody who is a black man, who has
The same
different
views?
political
Okay.
same views, you might be able to look at that and be like, still see them as like human
Of
and
course
like.
I still feel
Well, I know,
like
but
human.
okay, I don't know. Sometimes I'd be wondering because some people drive me crazy. But no, I'm just saying like you could look at that person and like maybe understand like why they might have those views. Like
Mhm.
for your brother, for example, you have some idea about like where that comes from, right?
Sure.
Right. So like you could use that to see like whoever this person might be that has those
To
same
see the
political
other
views,
side.
like yeah, like oh maybe these might be some reasons why they've landed in this position based on their
And
background,
what from there?
who they've been surrounded by. What from?
Yeah.
I feel like you'd just be more open-minded to them
Have you ever
because you have a little bit more understanding. At least that's how I feel. Because I feel like if I haven't met so many different people with so many different backgrounds and perspectives, I don't think I would be like with my grandpa, for example.
Sure.
Like, we are so completely different. He has views that are like, you know, demeaning to women, in my opinion, and directly are affecting us. But that's my grandpa, and he loves me, and I love him. But like, I don't think I would be able to have that relationship if I didn't have like the perspectives that I have now of like why he has those views, where he's grown up, like how things like war affect them, you know, things like that. Like I might be more like, oh, I'm just gonna completely cut him off and not have a relationship with him. Are you lost?
Not necessarily.
My sister has those same views. She's pretty Republican. I don't know.
And like to
I
have
think it's a little strain.
on the relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely does. But if I didn't have like, yeah, I don't know if I would be able to handle the strain if I didn't have a little bit of like open-mindedness.
Yeah. I mean, both of my sisters. I have 3 older sisters.
That's a lot.
Yeah. One's very not Republican,
Mm.
and then the other 2 are very Republican.
That's so interesting.
But
Did you guys
for-
have like completely different backgrounds? Or like,
No, I mean, they all came here by the time they were, it was like, probably like 13 and up. And it's just like, we're raised Christian. There's also that factor. And for one of the Republican sisters, there's a language barrier.
Mm.
She, I would say, I know a little too much English. She knows a little too little.
Mm.
And then the other one, she's very, very religious.
Mm.
Like, it affects every decision she makes in her life, including her political opinions. I mean, and it doesn't make her like an awful person, or like she doesn't, like, she wouldn't support men that very obviously like are sexist to women and such, but like, let's say like abortion laws, you know, things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, those hurt.
Mm.
But I also have like a best friend who has completely different views when it comes to abortion. And yeah, like I don't think I could be friends with her if I wasn't able to keep in mind. Yeah.
So how does that tie into like friends of yours who tell you not to take it as personal with the Andrew Tate stuff?
Because I think with my female friend who has those views on abortion, like to her, it's like she has those views because she thinks it's protecting, protecting something. So I feel like I can, even though I don't understand it, like I can look at that. But for men, it's not about protecting anything. I don't know what they're, I don't know. I guess, you know? Like I don't think they're like, they have those views because they're so passionate about some social, about like protecting somebody or fighting for someone.
How do you mean? Like,
Because with the abortion thing, like, to them, they're like protecting the unborn, right? That's what they're like passionate about, and they feel the need to put women like at risk in order to do that. But for the guys who are supporting Andrew Tate, like, what are they even standing up for?
themselves.
Yeah.
But how?
They're protecting their idea of themselves and their own security.
But they can do that without taking, like, without hurting us.
I don't think men know how to do that.
Yeah, but they still can. But with the abortion thing, like, I don't think those, like, it's not as clear, those two.
If they think they're protecting themselves, that they would also believe that reaction, that belief is warranted, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
But with your
I
best
think-
friend, how are you best friends with someone whose opinion differs from yours? Like this.
Well, because I think this would be so awkward if she watches. Because I think I've just told myself so many times, like, to be honest, I don't think she knows what she's believing. Like, I don't think she understands. Like, I think it's because I'm not, like, I think it really is just ignorance. Because I see, like, her family and the views that they have, and they're very, like, it's the same, and her older brother as well. And those are the people that, like, she looks up to. And, like, I think also wants some sort of, like, maybe, like, validation from those people. And also, I don't know, but I just know, like, if I was to say, can you give me some sort of data, facts, any, like, concrete thing to back up those beliefs that you have, I wouldn't get anything. So I think, for me, to be honest, that's easier to take than someone who can, like, back up their beliefs with something, because I know they've taken the time to look at, like, both sides. And even after looking at, like, the facts of what, like, is actually true, they're still, like, choosing to oppress women.
So you don't think your friend has seen the other side of it?
As in, like, my side?
Mm-hmm.
No, she has.
So
Especially from me.
How's that different?
Yeah.
No, I just don't think she. I don't think she could back up her side.
So do you feel like when you were referencing people who saw both sides, you feel like they could back up either?
I don't think back up, but they've at least like taken the time to look at both sides.
So you don't feel
So
like
they
your friend
understand
looked
like what they're even like fighting or like what they're disagreeing with. I don't think she knows what she's disagreeing with or like what she's standing up for, besides the like just the like minimal of
How
I
can
think
you be
abortion is
sure
wrong.
of that? How can you be sure
because
that
I've
your
had
friend,
conversations, and there's just nothing there. There's no
she
like
doesn't.
there's no like
Again, knowledge is at the tip of your finger.
And
She hasn't
Did you
taken
tell
the
her?
time.
Like you've told her stuff though, right?
oh yeah.
So she's gotten that knowledge directly to her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well,
she's-
it is okay, but the thing is, like, it is having an impact because some of those views are being like I've seen changes in the things that she's spending more time like learning about for herself and like exploring, and that was like never there like 2 years ago.
Mhm.
You know, and I know that like having me like constantly talking about it, like being surrounded by someone who has like completely different views and like is consistently like bringing those things up to her, like I think that had an effect on her like being motivated to learn those things for herself.
So do you guys feel like morality and stuff like that is a taught something? Or do you think it's inherent to like being a human?
I think it's taught.
Yeah, I think it's taught too. Because if it wasn't like a human thing, like, then why don't they have it?
I mean, there's definitely some people who come out of situations where they're like their environment would contradict exactly the views they have.
Yeah.
So it's not like it necessarily. I think there's just exceptions that would imply that there has to be like.
But yeah, but you can
Some
be
people
taught
just
like
have.
twice. Like you can grow up learning one thing and then.
Some people can just think it's wrong without like being taught. No.
I don't know about that. They have to be influenced by something, like environment or something. I don't think you could just think that with like. You know, you'd be like, oh, why do you think that? And they would say, da 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 da. Has to be some reason.
I think some people can just view it as like void of their own bias.
But that bias like comes from something.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
viewing it outside of it would imply that they have like a moral compass, no?
I don't know.
Because I've seen like so many people in situations where they weren't necessarily taught the right thing, but they've been around the wrong thing their whole life, but they still come out, you know, a certain way.
Yeah.
And whenever I've talked to them, they just be like, I just knew it was wrong what they were doing, or I just knew that was not the right idea to have. And it's not like they, like in the time that the person I'm referencing grew up in, there was no like wealth of information they could have just looked up to get the other perspective. So it had to just come inherently from them.
I don't know, man.
What part do you think religion has to play in that sort of thing?
I think they just use it as an excuse, I feel like.
The Bible has sexism in it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not saying I'm back in the Bible.
No.
I think for me, like growing up Christian was like a large part of like my guilt as a young, like when I was younger. I'm still young, but like I don't know. It's like you're taught all these things: be kind, be such and such, reflect God, and then I found myself and I'm like, I'm learning a lot of hate here more than anything. Or like a sense of superiority in a way that I'm better than the next man because I found the one true God, such and such. And I don't know, I found myself like, especially after my father died, I found myself like running away almost from this religion that just controlled such a big part of my teenage years. I'm still figuring it out, honestly, but for me, like, it left me sheltered for a bit. It left me, like, unable to understand my fellow human. And I'm trying to, like, unlearn that.
Unlearn like the superiority complex that you kind of gained from
Yeah, it's
being
like,
a part of the religion.
yeah, exactly. Like, the judgment that I passed based on what I read. And it wasn't my place to.
Right.
And I'm sure, like, in the Bible, it would say the same thing. That right only belongs to God. But you're also taught, like, that you find salvation and, like, man, I don't know how to describe it. It's just something that I'm trying to figure out.
No, that's valid.
Yeah.
I kind of stepped away from religion as well, but only because of the way it was used to oppress my ancestors. And I just don't think it's like, I don't know. I think some practices in the sects of Christianity are perfectly fine, like Orthodox Christianity. That's beautiful. But like Baptist, I think that was just like a direct like brainwashing mechanism, in a way. Even though like most of my family conforms, and I do understand most parts of the religion, it's just how much can I accept of something that was used in a negative way. Like, the reason we have this is not because we found it, but because it was forced upon us. So, I don't know. That's why I kind of want to read the Quran and other religious texts and try to find for myself. Because I feel like a lot of people don't try to find their own answer when it comes to, like, anything. Especially, like, with morality. And I feel like that's why I don't know if it's, like, necessarily a taught something. And I don't know if religion is the thing that is teaching it, because it does teach you how to be like morally righteous, but it also like is used as justification for like war and genocide. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's why I have a hard time with it too, is because it justifies so much like oppression, especially with like the abortion aspect.
Like, they be swearing up and down in the Bible.
Yeah, and like death penalty.
Stoning women to death.
Just for being at church takes everything. Women weren't allowed at church initially.
That's crazy.
If you saw a woman in church, you would have to line her outside and just throw stones at her. Doesn't come from good roots necessarily. I think the meaning and overall like purpose of it is like good.
Yeah.
But I think some of the ways in which they try to articulate it just aren't progressive. They're very, outdated.
Yeah.
So Andrew Tate, what are we thinking?
I don't have any more thoughts on that.
How do you think young men now could be better at supporting women?
I think like calling each other out on stuff, because I've seen like like I don't know, like I think you can do it like by living by example, like a lot of it can be done like with like showing how to, at least how to not like mistreat women.
Yeah.
And then like you could also like take actions to show it by, I don't like, use your voice, or like if you see something or someone says something, even if they're a friend, especially if they're a friend, like call them out.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be like, I'm gonna like dox you or some shit. Like, I'm gonna call you out on social media and just drop you as a friend. It can be exactly what Repka's doing. Like, teach them. I know you don't have to be responsible for someone's education at the end of the day, but it's how we make our fellow human better.
And I don't feel like blocking someone on social media or like being like, no, like you're canceled, like I don't feel like it's doing anything. Like if anything, it's just gonna like put a wall up for them more and like reassure them of like whatever view they have. They're just gonna be like, oh, like I think it's just like our pride. It's just
What makes me
first
mad
instinct.
is like I'll have these guy friends come and complain to me about, oh, this nigga did this, it's so fucked up, like I don't know what's wrong with him, such and such, and they'll just be calling out this person to me, but I'm like, what did you do in that moment?
Like, go tell them.
go fix it.
Yeah,
Like,
actually, yeah. I hear
like
that too.
we hear enough bad things about the world, we hear enough bad things happening all the time, and like I don't need that in my ear right now. Like if you saw something wrong, do something about it. I'm not gonna be the strong black woman for you.
Yeah,
Go
no,
fix
like
it.
go.
Like,
Yes.
like I'm tired too. The fuck. It's stupid.
Go take care of it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like don't come to me like telling me something that you saw that was wrong and like come talk to me about it to get some sort of like validation or like a pat on the back like for recognizing that it was like bad, or because you like I don't know, like reposted it or did like something. Like I'm glad you did that, but like what do you want from me? Like I'm not
That's the bare
like your
minimum.
teacher. Yeah, like don't like yeah, and like don't use that to like be like, oh okay, like I did the right thing, like I'm a good guy, like I'm not one of them. No. Please don't do
Yeah.
that. No. Oh, that's so annoying.
You go ahead and tell me.
What?
Let me tell y'all a long story. So, I used to live in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the police, like, let me say, the district that I lived in was a very small community. It's called St. Anthony Village. This was the police, like, whatever office. And then this was my high school, middle school,
Mm-hmm.
in one. Yeah. So, when I was in 6th grade, Philando Castile was shot in Minnesota. And that was done by an officer from my police department.
Wait, what happened?
Philando Castile. It's a man. It's a name.
Who was shot?
He was a
Black man?
unarmed black man that
Okay.
got shot. And there was like a lot of unrest during that time. Everybody, like the whole neighborhoods split up. We support the blue, Black Lives Matter, such and such. And it went on for my whole, it was very much when I got into activism, created our own diversity group in our middle school. It was very,
Go you.
yeah, go us, right? And we would have these arguments all the time. I would get like messages from other dudes recording their guy friends saying the N-word, the FAG word, such and such, saying like really racist, fucked up things. They would send it to us to go handle it, to go fix it.
Oh, you're the police.
I'm the police, and
Aw.
there were 10 black kids in my grade. I spent that whole time being hated. Like, they were calling us drama, they were calling us, like, too much, you don't let us have fun, it's just a joke, such and such. We hit, like, 9th grade, 8th grade. All of a sudden, they're woke.
Because it's the right thing.
It's the right thing now. And I remember I was giving this presentation in class for, again, my little diversity club.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear this guy, like, I made them break out into groups. I hear this guy who was super popular, very well known, and one of our tormentors, honestly. Like, it was bullying at the end of the day. And I hear him go, you know, I always thought they were doing too much, but they're kind of cool. Like, I remember it, and it makes me so mad. Because all these men made us responsible for their ignorance for so long, and then now they're being congratulated on social media for giving a fuck. And it's crazy. And we had like 4 black boys in our grade. And instead of talking to us, joining this club with us, they're friends with these white boys. They're at these events where these white boys are very obviously being racist or homophobic or such and such. And it's like, they're so quiet.
They are. And sometimes they support it.
Yeah, but for
well,
them...
you are supporting it. Like,
Yeah.
by being
No,
there.
sometimes they do it outwardly. Like in the last party I went to before I came to school, like in late July, like early August, this dude called my girlfriend a nigga to her face. And then she was just sitting there like crying in tears. And then we all heard about it. And then they're just sitting around, and I just see him, so I go up to him, and I'm obviously angered, but I'm like still calm enough to talk the situation. And I'm like going back and forth with him, and they're like, bro, you need to chill out. And then his black friend comes up, he says, oh no, it's cool. I said he could say it. I was like,
Exactly. That's one incident.
Then I got to pull out the situation. But that's besides the point. They'll advocate, some people are just washed.
I'm not afraid to drop names, right? So this dude, Bobby,
Drop.
real name Umera, Ethiopian, real name. He would give his white friends the N-word pass. And I'm like,
What?
oh, dictator of the N-word. Who gave you that power? And it's just so crazy. Because I'd be like, I'd be going up to these white guys, doing the shit that I don't want to do, trying to correct them. And they'd be like, oh, Bobby gave us the N-word pass, don't worry about it. Bobby, like, is he crazy?
They're
What's
lost.
wrong with him?
Crazy. That's
And
insane.
I don't want to be like, oh, he didn't know. Because
He
I didn't
knew.
know. I did not know shit about shit. Like, we were taught that we were Oromo or Ethiopian first before we were our skin color. I didn't recognize my blackness until Philando Castile got shot, I didn't know. I took the time to learn. And I'm still learning. But I don't think he ever did, ever will. And it's like, that's what taught me never to look at black men first as your supporter. And I'm trying to unlearn that. Give them some grace. But you haven't proven me wrong. Yeah. Like,
and like even the other day, I was just like sitting in the lobby and like listening to the conversation, and this guy comes around, and he's just like saying hi, whatever, and then he passes by and they were like talking about him, and they were saying how, like, I think it was during the early arrival program, he had been like talking about this girl that he was with, and like he said very, very fucked up things about her, and they were like, yeah, like he's not the greatest guy, whatever. And then this guy like comes back and forth like 3 times, and he's like, oh hey, whatever, like what's up, how you guys doing, whatever, and then just like talk with him like as if they're friends. What? Yeah, it's a messed up one.
Mm-hmm.
And then like just people on our floor, Logan was like answering,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, how you doing, whatever, which I'm sure like but it's things like that. Like, if you know he said something like that, like, I'm not gonna interact with you. Like, you can, I'm just gonna ignore you. Like, you can say hi to me, I'm not gonna talk to you. Like, why would I talk to you? Like, you're so comfortable and you're, like, and you, like, oppressing women and, like, saying things like that out loud. I will take being the rude one and not saying hi back. I'm cool on that. And then if you're wondering why, like, I'll clearly tell you, but it's just things like that. Like, you associating yourself with people like that is a huge problem. And I mean, I guess I'm guilty of it too, because, again, like I said, like, I've had friends who are like, But I mean, it's hard. It's not easy, especially when you've known them for years, and then they say some bullshit like that. I'm like, all right, like, what am I supposed to do? But at the end of the day, you gotta go.
The friends I've always known have demanded, like, more of me, or I've demanded more of them. Like, their ignorance, or being ignorant, was never an option.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm grateful for that, honestly.
That is really good.
Yeah. I miss you.
I don't know how my friend group dynamic works. Back at home, our friend group, we were like, how your diversity club was, that was how we were, sort of.
Yeah.
We were like just the group of black kids and all the high class, like the tokenized black kids doing diversity and high education, like examples of black excellence.
Yeah.
But we all hold each other accountable to like a certain standard. I don't know why it was necessarily, because we all became friends like really early on.
Mhm.
And I wasn't even like, I wasn't the smartest kid, to say the very least.
Mhm.
But that was because of the system. But that's besides the point.
Mhm.
And I don't know. It just, I feel like some friends are just, you know, they give you a better platform to call them out on these certain things.
Mhm.
And like I used to have a close-minded friend because he wasn't from the country. He didn't really understand it. Like when he first got here, he was like saying the N-word in songs, but only because he didn't know not to. And now he does it. Now he does it. But there is like proof it can be taught, but I think the person being taught has to be like susceptible to the information.
That's fair.
Because I feel like a lot of people are too driven by pride to accept anything that contradicts what they previously thought, because they take it personally rather than it being just about their opinion or thought about the matter. They take it as an attack on them rather than their mindset. And I feel like a lot of people who support Andrew Tate are just, their mindset is like kind of giving them the foundation for their own security. So when you try to take that away, they're just like, oh, you're attacking me.
Mhm.
Not to say that's like an excuse for them to be
Dickheads.
dickheads. That's the right word. Shit.
I saw this TikTok about how you have to, even when confronting someone about something, you have to use the right language. Just to, they don't feel like they have to get defensive, you know?
Mm.
It's crazy. Even when correcting someone, you
See,
have to
that is
accommodate.
crazy. But the thing is, we have to do it.
Yeah.
Like, we're responsible for doing that. Because if we don't, then, like, we're the bad guys. And, like,
Nothing is
the
changing.
likelihood of, like, anything happening is very small if we're not confronting it, like, with... Yeah, see?
I don't know if there's a way to change that necessarily.
But, yeah, I think, like, associating yourself with the right people, calling your friends out, and, like, using whatever, like, voice you have, but not expecting, like, for people to think you're a god because you did something.
Right, because
you know?
then you're doing it for that, then.
Yeah,
rather
like, I
than-
don't know what you're expecting. Like, this is, you're not, like,
I say that
doing
all the time
something, like,
to people.
going above and beyond. Like, you're just doing what's right, you know?
Mhm.
Like, this isn't, like, you are, like, above everyone else because you did this.
Mhm.
You're just...
That's
Yes.
it. Oh, go ahead.
Especially after, like, George Floyd and, like, all the riots in Minnesota and, like, being in this state of constant, like, defense in my school, I've reached this point where I was, like, almost running towards ignorance. Like, I wanted it so badly because everything just felt so heavy. Like, it's tiring to care.
It is tiring to
It
care.
is. Like, so I get it. I really
Yeah.
get it. But it's not right.
Yeah, it's, like, tiring. Like, we're the ones that are being... Like, we're the most tired from the situation, but we're also the ones who have to fix it.
Mm.
You know? Like, we're the ones who have to stand up for us. Because no one else is doing it. I know probably like I can probably like 3 guys in my life who I would say like I can trust will stand up for me. And I have a lot of guy friends.
I think I've had good teachers.
Mm.
Like we're in this Dare to Be Real program, and it wasn't like Dare don't do drugs or something. It was like be real, like be in your truth as a black person type of thing. And there was just so many opportunities given to me to learn, to do better. I'm grateful for that. I hope we can give the same opportunities to kids like us.
Mm-hmm. Put a little call to action on this podcast.
Yeah.
A little call to action.
Yeah, do something.
Stand up, fellas. I don't know what else. The way I see it, people like to feel good about themselves, and I feel like there will be a time where it's the right thing to
Support women.
To support women.
I'm sure it will be.
I hope so.
Yeah, but like
then,
I wish it wasn't just
yeah.
because it's like a little trend. Like I wish it was because you need the support.
Because
Blackout
people like
Tuesday.
giving and then receiving. People don't like to give without receiving. But I like to think that like you're not really giving something if you're expecting something in return.
No, you're not.
I say that all the time.
And
I used
like-
to say that to my friends whenever they would give me something and then expect me to, I don't know. I feel like if you were really giving, you'd expect nothing from me in return. Because it's true. Then you were just setting up something else for the future.
I think that's what I hate with this generation. That being woke is trendy. Like, the same dudes that were posting a black screen for George Floyd, and you know, even though I've changed schools, I'm still a little responsible for their ignorance. So even today, like a couple of weeks ago, sent me a screenshot of this white dude saying the N-word again, and I was just like, congrats.
What do you want me to do?
I bet it was
Yeah.
fun. Like,
What?
it was the same guy who was like, oh, it's so
No.
wrong what they did to George Floyd. America's so racist.
I don't even know the guy, but
No, exactly. It's, I don't know. People only do things when they're trendy. Which is why I also can't trust people in power. Because they might just be doing it because,
They have to act a certain way.
yeah.
They have to fit a certain...
Yeah.
to
And what
be
did
in that
what did
position.
Joe Biden say about helping the black community? And what is he doing now? Is he helping?
it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't take a lot. I feel like we're always supporting black men. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like for example, like with like if any shooting happens, like I see so many black women showing their support in like whatever way, but take like Breonna Taylor. I didn't see that at all from the guys.
You didn't?
No,
In terms of what, like reposting stuff and...
yeah, like and that's like so simple and
That's-
minimal. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think I saw that more than... But like, that's just that one case, but...
Or like even like artists, like musical artists, like
Tory Lance and Megan.
yeah, like there's just no support.
I feel like when it comes to violence, we see so much of it every day that we're almost desensitized. Like, there were two two shootings in California. When I heard about it, I was like, okay,
Yeah, me too. I saw it post. I was like,
all right, what else?
another one.
Isn't it
there?
like 1,200 deaths from mass shootings this year?
Yeah, and it just started. The year just started.
It's not getting a lot of coverage. It's no longer a part of pop culture. It's just what people have allowed to just be the reality
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want to target the reasons why people are doing it.
Yeah. And like for me, I've recently found myself like in this like I don't want to repost anything. I
have a
feel
hard
like
time
I'm
with that,
doing
too.
nothing. But at the same time, by not reposting, I'm really not doing anything.
It is
You know?
hard. Yeah, or like I try and do like maybe not like all the time or like over repost, but then because I feel like then they see it, it's just like, oh, it's just another repost. But if it's like in my head, I'm like, well, if I maybe only do like what should really be getting attention, maybe they'll take a second to, I don't know. It's hard. It's exhausting. So even though I'm tired of talking about this, because it's a lot.
We feel so responsible for everything that happens.
Do better, males.
Do better, males.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Do merch.
I don't got a clothing line now. I can't just throw anything on him. All I got is the stencils for this right here. But if they all acted upon these characteristics here, then we wouldn't have these issues.
That's so fast.
See, I'm already on it.
Sorry.
Do we want to ask more questions? Or you guys, how do you guys feel?
I don't really have much else to say.
Depends on how good the question is.
All right, now.
Can I have some moments?
Weren't you just clowning me for having one?
No, I just really needed something to
Go
eat.
ahead.
I'm dying.
You was clowning me for having moments.
Let's see.
Maybe I feel like I think we should finish it out by I want to hear how you think men can do better supporting women. Because I feel like we've said like how we think they can. You know? As a male. What do you think?
Being a male who's been around males the majority of my life.
These are good.
Okay, see? But how I think we could do better, I think we have to get somebody in a position of power. Get somebody for the pop culture to view as, or deem as cool or that guy or something like that in order to have the younger generation follow suit. Because as of right now, even those people like Sean King who are displaying certain acts of how we should act in society, it doesn't do anything because they're not viewed as, someone people want to necessarily be like. They can acknowledge that that's a cool person, but they're not trying to be like that person. Now with like Andrew Tate, they're trying to exemplify him and do everything that he's doing, and that's why it's propagating so much through our culture. But for us to do something, I think we just have to, try to highlight more of the good people out there to, give more positive examples. And other than that, like on a day-to-day, I suppose check anybody that has like or says anything even the slightest bit leaning towards being like sexist or anything like that, like even if it's minuscule or minute, because ultimately that's gonna impact our day-to-day. But it's in everything we consume, like in our rap lyrics and
the rap lyrics. Guilty.
See? But it's in everything we consume, so I guess we just have to take more of a conscious look at what we're letting ourselves consume, because that inevitably is going to become what we think of and how we think.